Absolutely perfect. And so now I would love to introduce Sumeda, and the floor is yours, my dear.
Hi everyone. My name is Sumeda Madhuri. I am a quality, the title might potentially change, but quality administrator here at DVA. And I have project management experience, around 8+ years of project management experience to be precise. And I have my PMP. I have experience in Scrum. So I have a Scrum Master certification, and I also have an advanced Scrum Master certification. So I'm kind of like overall have a good picture of project management and how project management can be used in and around government, private sector, NGOs, and so on and so forth. So pretty much anything project management is what I would go for. And now I'm opening my new wing with quality and trying to gain some experience there so that way I can, have a full fledged of experience around uh, the management entities. So giving a quick introduction there, I wanted to ask you all a quick thumbs up or a heart or um, anything that you could like share from your side to respond to this question. And that is my first question for you all is, how many of you have experience in project management? Awesome. I see a couple thumbs up, couple chats, couple hearts, couple hand raises. That's awesome. Yeah, hands downs are also totally okay. That's what I'm here for, right? Yeah, this is good. This is good. So, in project management, as we all know, there are several styles of project management. We have the waterfall method, which is extremely traditional, and you go step by step, you plan, then you discuss your plan, then you go into the execution phase, you monitor it, you control it, and then pretty much close the project. So it's like very systematic, very set by set, and very traditional way of doing it. Then, as time went by, we got new project management styles like agile, which is getting popular now recently. So DSDM that I'm going to share now with you all. Can you guys see my screen?
We can see it. Just got to get in presenter mode. Make it a little
Awesome.
bigger.
Is it now in the presenter mode?
Perfection. Thank you.
Awesome. Great. So, with that, give me 1 second. I am getting it together here. Okay. So, with that said, um, DSDM is an agile method. It's one of the agile methods. There are several agile methods like Scrum, like extreme development, rapid development, and so on and so on and so forth. But DSDM is one of the most used methods. And that's why I wanted to bring it out to the community. And it's one of the most lean method for project management. I'll go into details, I'll go into the explanation of how it is lean, how it is efficient, and so on and so on and so forth. So let's move ahead and proceed. So the agenda for today for me is to first talk about project management. I'll go a little slow. I know most of you are beginners, and I'll emphasize on the lean aspects of this so that way we can all have a great discussion here. You have any questions, please put that in the chat, or in the end, I'm sharing my email. you can send it over to me and I'll discuss that with you. Okay. So, in the first part, I'm going to talk about project management. This is going to be a quick session. I'm not going to take much time here. What is project management? What is PM styles? Government settings. Like, what happens in our government settings? The next part, I'm going to talk about just focusing on DSDM. So, what is DSDM? How will this be best for government settings? How does this work in the private settings? Then I'll take an example. I worked on Lake Burien Transitional Care Facility, so I'm going to call that short LBTCF. When we come to the slide, you will see the name again. So, you'll probably be able to um, understand that. But for now, let's just call it LBTCF, okay, for this slide. And I will talk about how I was able to use DSDM, what worked, what did not work, what are my pros and cons, and etc. etc. The last part, I'll focus on quality and question. How did DSDM work with quality? What were the pros? What were the cons? Does this sound okay to all of you? Or do you guys have any questions at this point of time?
I'm not seeing any questions in the chat.
Awesome. So I didn't go for 7 Mississippis, but it's fine, you know. Excellent. So let's first look at project management now. All of you have a basic idea of what project management is, right? We get projects from legislative mandates. We get projects from what we want to do for the government, and we have internal to external, external to internal. So we have those projects. We get funding, we get a certain amount, we get a certain time, and we know that this is our demarcated area, and we need to present that results in that certain time. So let's call that as project. So effective project management is like making sure that you have an effective plan, you are able to execute, and you are able to oversee a goal and make sure that that goal reaches to a success, maybe legislatively mandated or personally developed. Any of that, if it goes towards a goal success, that's what is project completion. Improved, we will have improved project success rate if you follow a certain method, if you are in a restricted constructed area, or if you are like setting up boundaries for your success, then you'll have improved project success rate. You have increased efficiency and productivity when you follow project management methods. Randomization can cause confusion. We have noticed in projects that when we don't have a clear scope, when we don't have scope as in the goal, when we don't have a clear goal, we are all over the place. So to just confine ourselves and set that boundaries, project management has great methods and styles that we can work on. What does project management actually focus on? It focuses on structure, it focuses on goal, it focuses on being responsible, team accountability, managing changes, managing any risks, monitoring any progress, making sure that we have performance and we are performing as we promised, and then also providing effective value to our customers. So project management pretty much entails around this. 90% of people who are developing a task, say I want to develop a policy, I want to develop a rule, a WAC, or anything, or even a management bulletin, you're kind of working on the same skills of project management. So even if you may not have complete experience of project management, you are still using the same common sense of project management to complete your tasks. So just wanted to highlight that. At this point, I'll just give a 1 second break and ask, do you guys have anything that you would like me to highlight here, or can I just move forward? All right, I'm moving forward since I don't see any hands. The next is traditional and agile methods. Yeah. So traditional and agile methods have, in project management, there are several styles. As project management developed through its phases, new styles and new values started coming up based on what your clients or your customers need. In our case, DDA, we have the disability clients. So that is what our focus is going to be on. Your area, you will have your specific clients associated to your suitability. So traditional is very linear. You're going to focus on what the client needs. You're going to focus on how you're going to provide it to the client, and you're going to do it one after another. You'll finish that, they will fill the form first, they will do this, they will do that. It's very, very systematic, and sometimes it's very, very slow. Why? Because you have to plan ahead of time what and all needs to be done. Agile is fast. Today, Talia tells me that she needs a certain software. We'll focus on that. Tomorrow, she tells me, hey, the client changed it. We'll go ahead and change that. Then again, my boss, Marco, will come in and like, no, the client changed this. And then we'll go and change that. So Agile is very flexible. But please be, when you're flexible, it affects cost. Every time you make a change, it affects cost, it affects time. In government settings, we don't have that opportunity, do we? We don't have that opportunity to change the cost or the time. So that is where your DSDM falls in. So when that situation started coming in, where time and cost were the constraints, you can't change the cost. Government has, legislation has given you only X amount of money, and they have given you only X amount of time. You have to finish your project in that much money, that much time, and you still have changes in your scope or your goal. How do you manage that? That is when you come into this phase, which is called as the rapid application development. You're rapidly developing it, rapid changes are happening, and that is when we got into dynamic system development methodology. Dynamic system development methodology started in 1994. It's not very old, it's pretty new. The key principle of that is focusing on business needs, delivering on time, collaborating effectively, giving your team the power that they can solve and resolve the the problems, and continue with development of the project. So it's a very strong method, if the framework is used appropriately. uh, Focuses on quality. Maintaining quality is one of the biggest goals, and also prioritize. Every single day you prioritize, you make sure that your plan is to prioritize. So I'm right now talking about DSDM. Yes, Agile was first used for developing software engineers, by software engineers, for software engineers. So, the DSDM methodology, which is our last entity here, 5, is something that talks completely only about developing new softwares. But recently, since 2004 or 2002, DSDM has become so versatile that it is being used across the board in federal government, in contracting, in most of them. It's one of the world's leading agile project management method. People might not know they are using DSDM. It's become like that people might not even know they are using DSDM, but that's one of the most used um, project management styles. So now I'll pause for a quick minute and see if you guys have any questions for me. And thanks, Donna, for adding your question in the chat. Awesome. Perfect. I'll move ahead. So the 8 principles of DSDM are: first, focus on the business need. You have to completely focus on the business need. Second, deliver on time. Third, collaborate. How do we do this? I'm going to show you the tools, I'm going to show you the faces, I'm going to show you the 10 steps and all of that in the next coming slides. Then we have never compromise quality. The next step or the next principle is build incrementally. This is an agile method. So it has to go incrementally. It has to go step by step. And then develop iteratively or incrementally. Both of them, go side by side. Communicate continuously and clearly. I'll show you some tools on how I was able to do this and how this is one of the key components for DSDM. And lastly, demonstrate control. This in project management is one of the hardest things to do when we do not have budget under our hands. But DSDM helps project managers to demonstrate control and show that they can control the project or control the growth or control the questions or control the deviations, uh, even without having budget under their hands. Some of the projects we don't have budget under the hands, so that's what I was trying to emphasize here. The best component that comes out of DSDM by using all of these 8 principles in the framework that they provide is that you get the best business value for every single project. And it is aligned with clear business goals, delivered frequently, and involves the collaboration of motivated and empowered people. So here we are focusing on empowering your people. Your team is the one who will succeed. It's not the project manager, but it's the team. It's all with the team. Yes, the work associated with communicating, with managing, with collaborating, with iterative development, with building the foundation, all falls on project manager. But the work and success is completely passed on to the team. So they feel super empowered and helps them succeed with the projects that they have. So we have 5 phases in project management style DSDM. So let's take a look. I'm going to go a little quick here. Why? Because I'm going to repeat them again multiple times and then again with example multiple times. So I'm letting you guys know I'm going to speed up here. So for the DSDM phases, the first phase is a feasibility study. We have to make sure that your particular project that you are bringing in for DSDM is feasible. Why did so many styles develop? Why do we have Scrum? Why do we have Advanced Scrum? Why do we have Safe? Why do we have all these different styles? Each one of them is based because of the feasibility. Some can work in these styles, some absolutely need traditional. Like construction, sometimes road building, you'll have to use traditional. You can try agile, but cost will go up, and so on and so forth. So feasibility study is the first part of it. What do we do in feasibility study? We evaluate the scope. Scope is the goal of the project. Then we do the 80-20 principle. What is 80-20 principle? 20% of the work is going to give you 80% of the result. So 80% of result is based on 20% of your work. So prioritize again. Iterative approach, business requirements will change. It's okay. It's dynamic, so it should work. And we'll use change development. The next thing is foundation. What is the foundation of DSDM? People are the foundation of DSDM. So we have people, we have process, we have product, and we have practices. So those are the 4 things that actually DSDM works with. And we give the ownership to the people, and people are the key component of the foundation. The next thing is understanding your variables. You might be like, what is variables? Well, your time of the project, your cost of the project, your features that you need for the project are all your variables. There are fixed variables for DSDM. Time and cost are fixed. It tells you that in this situation, your time and your cost is fixed. We are not going to change that. How will you manage your quality in this point of time? By managing your features, by managing your team, by managing your people. So that's why people get the most focus. And that's what is understanding your project variables. The next step is developing your teams. Developing your teams comes with empowerment, stability, skills, and size. You're making sure that the people that you're taking in are actually skilled. You have the appropriate size. You're able to maintain the stability. You don't have turnover. Every 2 days, your team lead is not leaving the job, and then, so maintaining stability, empowering them, giving them the opportunity to succeed. And 80-20 principle, again, in team development. Last is time boxing. You have a specific time period to solve your problem. You have a specific time and cost in the sprint that you're going to develop. Quality is not going to be compromised, and that you're going to measure using standard deviation. I have some tools in the end of this presentation. I have 6 tools for, if you're interested in using it, and that also helps you calculate your quality based on the percentage of project done. So these are your 10 steps to be successful. So we went over the phases. Now we're going to look at the 10 steps. From the point of understanding your project variable to post project phase, means you've completed your project, you're doing your lessons learned, you're asking everybody's survey, or you're just talking with them or partying. If you guys party after finishing a project, totally depends. What are the things that goes in between these two phases? The first phase, or the first thing, is evolutionary development phase. Then you have development phase. I'll go over them in details. Just, as I told, I'm speeding up here. So we have the evolutionary development and development phase. So you're pretty much assuming what you need to what you need, and then prioritizing what you need with Moscow. Moscow is must have, should have, could have, and I don't want them right now. Prioritizing them on that basis. So evolutionary development, when I say that, is you're thinking about what you want to have. I want to have an iPhone. I want to develop a new software. I want to develop an AI chatbot. I want to develop a building where I can serve disabled kids. So it's a I focused concept. Then it comes into a development phase. We have XYZ amount of time, like a SMART goal, XYZ amount of time with $12 million, and we need to complete this by developing XYZ building, which will serve 12 kids. Very focused, developed concept from your evolutionary phase. Then prioritizing. Yes, we are going to start with 12 bed, then we'll go to 24, and then we'll go to 48, and so on and so on and so forth. What do I need? What is a must have? I need a building. I need money for it. I need people for it, and so on and so on and so forth. The next is to assemble, deploy and complexity, accountability, review, and create a prototype. Each of these can come whenever they want, however they want. That is the dynamic part of it. So you can probably deploy and assemble and deploy. You can develop the complexity while you're deploying. You can develop the complexity while you're assembling. So they can kind of shift. So I'll go over that. Last is to close the project and then go into the post-project phase. I spoke for almost 7 to 8 minutes here. I understand I spoke a lot. Do you guys have questions for me?
I am not seeing anything in the chat. You're doing great, Sumeda. Thank you.
Awesome. So the next is I'm going to focus on the feasibility and foundation. According to DSDM, the feasibility is one of the highest, most important thing that you need to do. Without scope, there is no project, right? Without a goal, you don't have a project. So have a clear goal. And second, prioritize in that goal what do you want first. So that is your 80-20 principle. Then you have your iterative approach. Okay, now I have 10 things I want in this project. I want to have a house. I want to have 10 windows. I want to have like 5 walls. I want to have 5 doors. Like I'm making this up. Okay. And then I want to have trees, apple trees all around in the backyard. So what will I start with? Will I plant my apple trees first or will I build the building first? Right? Prioritizing and making sure that your tasks are aligned and you're able to actually pass through them is your 80-20 approach. And it also can be called as backlogging. You create your backlog or a list of items that you need to do. You create the whole product backlog and say that I have 20 items to do. In that, 7 items are super critical, and that is my 80-20 material or tasks. So you create that. And then from there, you create your foundation. You make sure that that 80% of work which you are assuming is going to be done by the 20%, you're obviously going to work with leaders. You're obviously going to work with people who understand the subject, because project managers are people who can manage the tasks, not someone who can develop the tasks. So you're going to develop all of this with the people. So for feasibility study and the foundation pretty much are parallel to one another, and that builds your building. So your people, your process, your product, and your practices are the 4 pillars that your principles and your project pretty much stands on. Obviously, there is common sense and pragmatism, which is the base, which sometimes in project management we assume is across the board, but sometimes we have to set the standard up. So, setting the standard that yes, we will communicate this way, we will send out emails this way, this is how we are going to respond back, this is how we are going to approve. Setting up a standard is the most important thing. So that is about your feasibility and foundation. Uh, is there a quick question or can I move ahead?
No, keep going. This is good.
Awesome. So for the evolutionary development, as I had mentioned, the first part is understanding your variables. You have your cost and your time, which are fixed. This works excellently with our government settings. Why? Because cost and time for DSDM approach is set, it is fixed. Features are variable. Yes, we can add a little bit here, we can change a little bit here. We still have to follow the mandates. I agree with that. But we still have little flexibility. If you want to add more features, we can request for that in our next coming budget, like the budget biennium and so on and so on and so forth. So this method works excellently for federal and government settings. And that sets this method apart from the traditional, because in traditional, features are fixed. You are saying that you're going to create a hospital with 900 beds, and it will have a cardio unit, it will have a XYZ unit, and you're very, very specific about your feature. Cost and time, you can go ask for extra money, you can ask for extra time, and the quality is completely based on feature. Here the quality is based on time and cost. So it works excellently for government settings. So that is why I'm bringing this forward to our team here. um, I'm gonna move forward. The next slide will be a good transition here. So no time for question here. So the team and time boxing is which helps you set that quality, and it will help you set that time and cost standard. How does this work? So the overall DSDM phase here will help us look at it. So first thing is developing of the team. You have to use 80-20 principle when you're developing a team. You have to make sure that 20% of your folks that are there in the team are able to finish 80% of your project. So the 80-20 principle falls everywhere. I'll pause for a quick second. I hear a voice. Is there a question for me?
Oh, no, I think someone's mic was just unmuted for a brief second. We're good.
So, developing team, when you are selecting your team, you have to make sure that 20% of that team is able to do 80% of that task. So, when you're prioritizing your task, you're also prioritizing your team and making sure that you're not going to deal with lead change every 2 weeks, or you're not going to deal with a certain uh, key critical skill set being missed in the beginning itself. So that is what happens in the development of the team. And the speed of your time boxing, this is where the dynamic comes in. The team sprints are 1 week long. You are going to start your sprint on Monday, you're going to finish your sprint on Friday. If you are promising that you're going to get a paper done and submitted, you have to do that within that 1 week. Yes, Anita. Sometimes the teams are cross trained, sometimes they are not. Like people who work, um, let me show you that in the example. When I come to the Lake Burian example, I will show you the teams that we had created. They are not transferable, but some skills are. Here you're making sure that 80% of your work is done in 20, and that 20 is done with these 20 people, and they will stay for that time. So the sprints are 1 week long, maximum 2 weeks long. Do you see the time box you created? You've created only 10 days for them to tell you what they will get done. If they change the scope, doesn't matter. You can still do the work. If you are setting up the quality, you can maintain your quality in that period of time. Your cost and your time are set, and you are able to control that very, very.
Oh, Sumeda, you accidentally muted yourself.
Oh, sorry for that. So, um, yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You were just talking
Yeah.
about being able to control your time.
Yes, being able to control your time and being able to control your quality. So that is why I said that, hey, let me jump to the next slide quickly. So what happens is you have the pre-project phase, you have the feasibility, you have done that, you have done your foundation. Now you're going to go into evolutionary development. Can you guys see this? And then here you're going to assemble, review, deploy. So that's the deployment phase. Then you will be like, no, this didn't work for me in the first week, let me go back, change it. Go back, feasibility foundation, change, next week implement. Feasibility foundation, change, next week implement. This can work for any project. This can work for any features that you want to develop. Doesn't need to be just software. Building, look for rented facility, look for beds, look for key cards, look for sprints. It doesn't matter which section of the project you're talking about. This works. So let me take you to an example now. All right. So for the Lake Burian project, I'll come back to your question. Just give me 1 second. The cross-functional team, I'm going to show you here. Okay. So how did this work for the Lake Burian Transitional Care Facility? First, we did the feasibility study. We were very, very focused, and I asked three critical questions. Where is going to how is the facility going to be? What is the age group that we are going to work on? And how many beds are we going to use? Some of these came from the legislation, some of these were actually flexible. So focus on your scope. Make sure that your answers are clear and everybody across the team knows what is happening. Using that, next, develop 20% of your work that accounts to 80% of your success. Make sure that that is taken care of. So, what are the things that you will have to do? You absolutely need a facility. So, we have to get that thing done. Second, we need to have staff hired and we need to have the skill sets available for us. So, get that thing done. Third, weekly plan. Yes, I understand we have a very, very short period for this project. We have to get this thing done. We have to focus on, successfully implementing or successfully managing a certain project. Totally okay. So, weekly plan. Monday plan, Friday report. Monday plan, Friday report. You reported on Friday that this was not successful. Can we again start that on Monday? Probably yes. So, let's start it again. Let's try to see if we can succeed by Friday. How much percentage of work did we do? Every week, we are going to ask them, hey, did you get this thing done? If you did it, then we give you 5%. If you didn't, then we'll hold off and wait for that number. So, accountability. People are put on spot. You have to get the work done. You said you're going to get it done. Can we please try to get it done? If it did not get done, what happened? We had a cabling strike. We had a big cabling strike, which delayed our project. If that kind of risk comes up, then can we take it to the leadership? Can we bring it to the notice of, assistant secretaries and secretaries so they can help us resolve it? If not, can you resolve it? And so and so and so forth. So, weekly planning, weekly change. You're changing, it's okay, no problem. We can solve it, we can resolve it. Time boxing, making sure that what you promised gets done, making sure that if there is a change, everybody is accounted and everybody knows about it. I had 163 people working in this project, and in that, 37 people were the ones who got most of the project tasks done. So, focusing on who your key skill sets are, making sure your team is the power. Team is the one who's able to do it. Yes, Jessica?
Can you repeat that, what you said about the size of the team and the
Yeah,
percentage of people?
yeah, I had 163 people in the whole team, like everybody, from people parking the car to putting up signs to managing, you know, basic entities. In that, 37 or 39 were the ones who got all of the tasks of the projects done. So I'm taking in consideration leadership as well, who won't do basic paperwork, but 20% uh, of of that, like if my numbers are a little off, plus or minus, I'm also considering leadership there. So let's be mindful of that. So it's easy to deploy when you have a very, very big project which needs to be done in a certain constricted time. This works. I've used this at Meta Platform Inc. as well. I've used this at federal government for the court associated projects as well. So I can give you guys examples associated to that as we go during the presentation. So I'm going to show you here next, which is understanding our project variables. Fixed variables, time and cost. Legislative told us that we can use 12 million. So that cost is stuck. I can't change it. Leadership can't change it. Nobody in the team can change it. That's the amount that is being given to us. Time, we have 90 days from the legislative mandate. You have to get this thing done by July 1st, So we have a set timeline. So all of that is constricted. Variable features. Start with 4 beds. We don't have to start with 12. Yes, by the end of it, we need to reach 12, but I don't think we can get all 12 kids at the same time. So let's start with 4. Features can be feasible, not feasible, flexible, wrong word, can be flexible. So we can change that and make sure we still meet the mandate by the time we report. Quality, make sure that the kids who are there are happy, healthy, and getting all the features that they need. So, making sure your quality is met. So, every week as you're progressing through your project, you're making sure your quality is met. How am I measuring it? Based on standard deviation. Time boxing, making sure that your sprints are flexible and planned. This is where project manager comes in. How do you know how many sprints do you have? How do you know how much is the 20% work that will get done? How do you know you can prioritize that? How do you know your time is going to be managed? How do you know your cost is going to be managed? That is where your project management skills are going to get tested. Which team members to be involved? Which team members to be considered? Who do you manage? How do you communicate? Don't tell people that, hey, you are anyways joining now. I don't think I need you. You know, be kind. You can, every person who is in the team will contribute to the project. I learned this in during this project. I had one person who showed up midway in the project, and I was very, very thankful that that person showed up because they accounted for almost 40% of the work. And if I would have dismissed them saying that, "Hey, I don't think I need you," probably I would have regretted that for the rest of my life as a project manager. But so be very, very flexible and make sure that you're able to understand who uh, and when you can involve people and understand their contribution to the project. This is common across the board for all project management. Just an FYI. Set cost, again, variable feature, which I already talked about, quality is not compromised. So these were the 3 phases. Now, what was the main thing? Tasks. We determined our tasks in the beginning. Generalized, super generalized, I understand. But then we prioritized what we needed. We categorized them. Category 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can see here in the Pareto chart, right? It's 4.5, but technically 45 tasks. Okay? 45 tasks that we had accounted for 90% of my project. I made sure that this 45 tasks got done before April 1st. No matter what happened, pounding it to the leadership, pounding it to the people in the team, making sure that this task get done. So 80-20 Moscow model is your best friend in DSDM. You move that, you adapt, and you move on. Change is acceptable, risk is acceptable, and communication is high. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I communicated. In the initial stages, I set up individual meetings with people to assess their skills to make sure that I can actually trust them and I can make sure that I can take them to my leadership and the project will get done. Assessing, communication, making sure that your 80-20 is managed is extremely high. I'm not sharing my surveys and my questionnaires, but if you guys need that, I'll totally send that out to you. Please send me an email if you need that. Goal focused. You make sure that when you're communicating, your first sentence is goal focused. You tell them that, hey, this is what my goal is. You tell them that this is what the customer needs. And then you talk about your plan and you tell them it's totally flexible. You can change it. But please, let's focus on category 4. Category 4 affected 80% or more than 80% of the project. And here we prioritized. All the other variables I've already talked about, but I'm just going to quickly repeat it here for you. Evolutionary development, where you are going back and forth thinking about what needs to be done, what does not need to be done. Development phases, Moscow, which I've constantly said, must haves, should haves, could have, and I won't have. And then prototyping and iterative development, making sure that every phase, every Friday, your leadership knows, hey, we got the building this week. Hey, we got the beds this week. Hey, we got XYZ. We got the pillows. We got the blankets. We have a kitchen staff. We have custodians. The windows got fixed, etc., etc. So that way, every week they know that, yeah, we are progressing, we're progressing. So they know that we are meeting our mandates. They know that we are able to manage and control the project. We are able to manage the change. Yes, we had a strike. Let's focus on something else while the strike is taken care of. Do we have our must haves? Did we fix that? Did we take care of that broken window? Did we take care of this particular building? Did we take care of this particular manager? Then, once you reach 50% of the product, like once you reach the 50% of your project, let's have a retrospective. Did we actually think about our minimum viable product? Are we there? Did we do a good job? What did we do wrong? Who's derailing the project? Who's moving things away? What is happening? How can we solve it? Leadership focused, team focused, people focused. Have multiple retrospectives. Make sure that you're able to get that. Retrospective is a project management thing, which I added here for DSDM. DSDM doesn't do retrospectives, just an FYI. And then last is to deploy. 20% of the work developed. Did we do change management? Did we manage the people? Did we test it? Let's test everybody's key cards. Let's test run how we're going to have a certain event. Let's test run how we're going to treat the kids. Let's test run for the roadmap. Let's test run for a client. Doing a quick test runs every week, planning that for a certain critical entities. Then going back to your definition of done, or going back to your initial evolutionary development phase, making sure that you're at least meeting what you had talked about. And then closing the project. Lessons learned is something that here at DSHS I think is beneficial, but DSDM doesn't stand on it. It doesn't tell you that you have to mandatorily do it. Then post project phase. Ask for a survey. Ask everybody questions. Did you like it? Are you happy with this? Do you think it was successful? Get their clear input about project manager, about the project, about the style, and you will see how people will react, and you'll get to know if it was successful or not. The critical tools that I used. Basic project management, let's not forget our basic tools. And then some fun tools that actually really helped me steer this project and get it done in 90 days. Communication tools, you have your communication log. You have your decision log, you have your decision tools. You have your risk log, which tells you how much risk you have, how much, like how you're taking decisions on it. So you have your RAID log. Then you have your staff log, like how you're going to manage it. When will tech come? When will computers come? And so and so forth. Then you have your team roster. This is where DSDM comes in. You have to provide a report card. Every week, you have to provide a report card. If you put people in the report card with names, their teams, and percentage done, and how much their project is successful and not successful, then accountability comes in. High amount of control. That's a con. It's sometimes makes people feel very constricted. But then if you have a time limit and if you have a very strong project that needs to get done, which everybody is like looking at, then report cards are super helpful. Then project status. What risks did we see? What was our wins? Did we do something good? Did we succeed something this week? Let's highlight that. Who did that? Let's bring that team member in. Let's give them a clap. Let's tell them that they did a good job. That brings people motivated. Everybody gets motivated that, hey, he got applauded, she got applauded, they got applauded. And the next, because this goes to everybody, this goes to all the 163 people. So people feel appreciated. Then progress report. Every single team is going to tell me, Monday, I'm going to do X task, I'm going to do Y task. Friday, did you do the X task? If you did, let's live update it. If you see this, this is a live update. So going into detail now, this was how my communication sprint team look like. Yes, I am sharing them with you. That's one of the tools. So the sprint, so Jennifer asked if I'm sharing the report card. Yes, I'm sharing my project plan. And so just give me 1 minute. I'm almost there. So every week, if you see here, 513, 520, 527, 63, 614, every week, did we do this? Did we do this? Communication is logged. Communication is put in the same place. Accountability, decision log. Did we make a decision? Who made the decision? Who started it? Did we finish it? And so on, so on and so forth. RAID log. How many risks do we have? We are going to rank them. We're going to scale them and make sure that it actually gets successful. Staff log. Okay, we have to hire 96 people. This was not created by me. This was created by another person. And I gave full credit to that person. And every time a person got hired, we would come here. Do they need office phone? Did we deliver the phone? Did we deliver the material? Yes, this is Smartsheet, but I'm giving you Excel versions. You can pull them in Microsoft Project. I use this in Microsoft Project, and so on, so on, and so forth. You can use it in multiple tools. We are not stuck to Smartsheet. Where are they going to sit? What is the region that they will be? How many hours will they work? Are they full-time? Are they part-time? All the details were put. And we also added the PDFs. We also added their interview stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, I know.
So everything was controlled. And the 37 people who were managing the main project had access to this. So please don't tell me when you're interviewing that you don't have access to XYZ. You do. So making sure that that happens on every Friday, asking them verbally in front of 163 people, hey, do you have access to this? They say yes. Boom, it's done. It's like managing the control part that comes in DSDM is beautiful. But that also scares people. So let's be kind when you're using DSDM. So the team roster, I did use Smartsheet. I added all the emails. I added all their contact list. All I had to do was go up here, click, and select the section that I wanted, and boom, my email list of emails or that I need to add is ready to go. Make it easy for yourself. Excel has this, project Microsoft Project has this, Jira has this, it's the same tool, it's the same concept. Just use the concept and then let's succeed from there. Yeah, kindness absolutely matters when you're in a high stress, super fast project. So please be kind. Don't dismiss anybody because that bridge, you will need that bridge. The critical tools that DSDM absolutely requires you to do. First, report card. Every single week, you are displaying your report card. Every single team has to tell you, do they have any risks? How much work got done? Do we have delay? You display that, and everyone has to participate. So the 20% of your folks who are successfully helping you get this project to the end line will see this. And each team that is getting affected will be able to tell you that, hey, if this person doesn't get their job done, I'm actually going to slack. I don't want to slack. Can you help me out? And one of the leaders will stand up for you and it will work out. So the accountability is extremely high in DSDM. That can also cause conflict. And that is why you have to be very kind. You have to make sure your communication is very clear. And it's not about pointing fingers, but solution focused. So if you can see here, I think I had a question previously which talked about the sprint teams, the teams that I had. So I had a pharmacy team who cannot do the job of TIA, who cannot do the job of payroll, who cannot do the job of training. They all are separate, different teams, you know. But each one of them had like 2 or 3 people or 4 people who were accountable, responsible, and very good at communicating, and was able to help me move the project faster. So the second critical tool was project status. Again, same thing: wins, milestones, risks, summaries, showing project success, showing it in color, making sure that we are progressing, making sure that we are succeeding, you know. How much are we done? How much are we done? What did we do? Did we get XYZ? What barriers we have? Showing that in one slide, making sure that everybody understands it, and sending it to all 163 people is the project manager's job. Last tool, this is the most critical tool you have. Sorry for saying it out like that. Okay. So you have your teams. They come in on your Monday meeting. They'll tell you that they're going to do XYZ task done. Friday, the same team, you're meeting them. And they have to report out. Did they finish that particular task? Next week, I'm doing XYZ. This week, I completed XYZ. You take that and you bring that to your project plan. Check your percentage. Make sure you're succeeding. Make sure your team is succeeding. Make sure your risks are managed. So, on the background, project manager had lots of tasks to do. For the team, they knew what they are telling me that they will get done. They knew what they are telling me that they'll be successful at. And that is going to go towards your project plan, towards your backlog, towards your minimum viable product, making sure that your product is complete. This is your most critical tool. Use Smartsheet, use Storyboard, use Jira, use whatever. I used PowerPoint. Doesn't matter. But make sure that your plan and your progress are live updated in front of all your teams, and everyone who's there is accountable for this particular task. So this is a quick slide. We have 85% of our management objectives met. You know, everybody demands, I want 96 beds. Well, sorry, we are focusing on only 12 beds right now. Sorry for your disappointment. So management has high demands. Let's keep them all aside. Customer objective, 100% we have to meet. This all goes into the implementation part of it, which is on this side, which tells you that 80% of my task was completed. We were 1 week late. Why? Because of the cabling strike. Resources, we had to ask everybody and everywhere that we could manage for like cabling and these kind of things, and make sure that the task gets done. How did I track progress?
There.
Yeah. How did I track progress? I tracked progress on basis of the days of completion and the amount of growth in percentage. uh, Budget was taken care by OFM. So we in DSHS don't have the luxury of um, managing back, which is the budget at closing, or CAC, which is the cost at closing. You know how much money is left. So this was managed by OFM. Quality was measured on based of standard deviation. Growth was measured in terms of percentage, and time was measured in terms of days. Last slide. These were the tools that I'm sharing with you. I'm presenting a dynamic planner. I'm giving you a dynamic report out, a staff planning staff chart, which was not created by me. This was created by another manager. I give full credit to her. Her name is there on the slide. Her name is there on the tool, but not here. RAID log, decision log, project plan, communication plan, sprint log, external documents, policy procedures, roadmap. All of these in the bottom are typical project management tools, which we all use. The top three are DSDM focused. So now, do you guys have any questions for me? Sorry, I'm at 57 minutes. I think I slowed down a little bit and talked a little bit too much.
Oh my goodness. No apologies. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. Any questions? Feel free to come off mute. Now's the time. Oh,
Is this,
Anita, do you have a question?
I do. So I'm going to just jump in. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, I just couldn't hear you that well, but you're good to go now.
Okay.
Go on.
Okay. So I'm still stuck on this 20% thing.
Yes.
So is this because people on the team have other job responsibilities? So they're only working on your team partially. So what you're doing is you're identifying the 20% of the team that's really your core team and everybody else is ancillary.
Yes. I would say partially yes. And yeah, here at DSHS, and like also in most of the government settings, we all have multiple roles, and we have to focus on multiple things. So if we have those 20 people focus on just one project for a certain period of time, then we can do that. But even if you have like if they are completely available to do the job, say I'm going to use Talia and Marco as an example. So if say I have Talia who's 100% available for this project, and she's like full-time employee for this particular project, then but then she will still have her own personal tasks that she'll have to take care of. She'll have her own like development tools that she will need to work on. So the 20% of people teammates is because certain skilled people we cannot lose, making sure that we are tracking those certain skilled people for this particular project.
Okay. Thank you for the explanation.
Yeah, but you were not almost, you were spot on with your solution.
We're not hiring people for the project that are not going to do very much work. Right.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
We don't have the money for that for sure. Our budget.
Yeah. In today's day, I think most projects run with that kind of a like where everybody has to spread their wings.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sumeda, also,
Yeah.
thank you so much for that question, Anita. I did have a question earlier. Earlier on in your presentation, this was sent kind of on the back end, but the question was, what are your common KPIs on your project success?
Some of the common KPIs are your cost percentages, your time, like constricted to DSDM if you're focusing on. Then you also with like team dynamics, you have to think about team satisfaction. You have to think about like so if you have a specific team, Like if you have a customer service team, or if you have like pharmacy team, then specific to them, making sure that, so we have like few KPIs for them, and then you have few KPIs for the project. So making sure that all of those are met. So they are you split the KPI and KQIs, key quality indicators, separately, and track them across the board. So for Lake Burian project, we had three pharmacy indicators. We had for the TR team, we had like supply of the computer, supply of the phone, those kind of like couple feasible KPIs there. I hope that answered you, Talia.
Wonderful, thank you. Yeah, that came from someone who has kind of like a code name, so I'm not sure how to address you. But if you are still on the line and there's more you want to add to that question, feel free to come off of mute.
Yeah, please do. I can send you how I measured them, how I like calculated them, why they were important, and like determination factors. So that happened in my feasibility part of the power project, and I can help you with that.
Awesome.
For
Yes. And Teresa did put Sumeda's email in the chat earlier. So feel free. Sumeda has given us permission to say, reach out if you have any questions after this. And then also, I do believe you had some templates you mentioned possibly wanting to share. So if you folks have an interest in receiving those templates, maybe you can email and ask her for those. We're getting some good questions in the chat. And I also see a hand up. So let's go with the hand real quick because I see, Paul, you have your hand up.
Thank you. Thanks, Sumeda. Super robust. Really appreciate the elements, especially the accountability pieces in here. I was curious, you'd referenced quality measures using standard deviation, and I wondered if you had some some examples of dimensions of quality or realms of quality that you measured that way. I'm very curious.
Yeah, so for this particular entity, since I did not have budget, components, I just used people and people dynamics, people support, all of those like people factors on the communication side. And then I also used the project status, like how much are we completing, how much on time, like, or beyond time. So that was my another quality feature. And I don't remember exactly now, but then we also had like risk associated and then issue associated components that we used for quality. And then we last quality factors, which I did not absolutely have any wiggle room, which I made sure that everybody mandatorily has to do it, was the customer focused quality. If they said that they're going to provide a certain quality to the kid, like, food, their services, how they're going to manage that we tracked full-fledged to make sure that that quality was met.
Thank you.
Great question. We've got another good one in the chat. How would you recommend holding people accountable to completing tasks in a timely manner when they do not work for you, but they are responsible for completing the tasks of the project?
So report card
Mm.
and the process, planning and report out.
And that's weekly, right?
That's weekly.
Mm-hmm.
So Monday, Samantha told me that she's going to complete, or Talia told me that she's going to complete cleaning the glasses. Talia, sorry.
Oh,
And
you're
then
fine. They need to be clean.
no. And then Friday, I'll be like, hey, Talia, did you clean the glasses? And she'll be like, yeah, I did. And then I'm like, okay. Then Marco, did you like actually, finish the quality? And he'll be like, no, I actually have to finish XYZ. So then, I'm not being mean to them. I'm still like counting that got done.
And so can I just ask for clarification? Would you
Yeah.
say that accountability piece and that, weekly accountability and eyes
Mhm.
on every week piece is something that really differentiates this methodology from others? You know how all these methodologies seem so similar. Would that be the main factor in this methodology that makes it stand apart from the rest?
Yes, that's the dynamic part of it. The report card, the process, and the report plan, like planning and report out, that slide that I showed you,
Mm-hmm.
those two are non-negotiable critical tools for DSDM.
Have you ever seen a reaction, an adverse negative reaction to the weekly
Yeah.
accountability piece as far as folks feeling like they're being micromanaged or it's too controlling or just trust us to get it done? Has that ever come into play?
Yes, micromanaging is one of the biggest problems associated with DSDM because it feels weekly you are being managed, weekly you're being pushed, but it totally depends on the project manager and their communication skill. And
Hmm.
making sure that when you get that 20% of people on your team, like constantly telling them, hey, this is for project success, this is for your success, I'm making sure that you guys are successful, I am not managing you, I'm just like making sure you are happy, comfortable here. So you know
So it's in the
constantly.
delivery.
Yes, it totally depends on the delivery, so that's why I highlight kindness and
Hmm.
people management here to the highest.
Yeah, and I would imagine some type of motivation and inspirational, beginning kickoff would help with
Yes.
buy-in, getting folks all on the same page so that they're jumping in with some serious momentum, and not taking offense to the weekly check-ins. Uh,
Yeah.
Another question is, what were some common challenges faced by you?
Communication
Mhm.
was one of my biggest challenges that I faced here because in the beginning, people did not want to communicate with me at all. They found like here, especially in the government settings, I have noticed project manager doesn't play a very, very critical role, but they kind of do play a very critical role. So making everybody understand that and shifting that mentality from hey, can you please listen to me and work with me, to you need to get this done, you know took a
Yeah,
minute.
it is what it is. It has to be done. I'm here to help.
Yeah, I mean, it took a minute, but then we had restrictions, we had mandates that we had to get done, so
And
yeah.
I think Kiana hit it well over here in the chat where she says the shift is in the fact that we're coaching and championing one another, regardless of our
Yes.
positions. So very well
Yes.
said.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, if you don't mind. Thank you for that presentation. That was amazing, so informative. Thank you for being so gracious to share your email address so that we can reach out to you and get those templates. I highly suggest you all reach out for those. And we'll also, you're going to send those to me on the back end. So we'll get those posted to
Yes.
the site as well. So you all know that when you get the blast recap, we'll have the article in there that kind of gives a recap of this session. We'll have the recording. So if you want to hear that, we'll also put in a link to the presentation and we can put in links to those templates as well. So if you don't want to reach out and you don't feel like, reaching out via email, just know that will be in the blast recap as well. If you don't get that blast, let me know because we do have our community distribution list. So everyone should be on there and getting it, but I would like to know if you're not receiving it. And I am curious. Thank you, Teresa, for putting that in the chat. I'm curious now. We did have a couple people in the beginning that said you all are advanced in using DSDM, and I'm just curious if there's anyone still in the audience. We've lost just a couple people, but for the most part, we've still got a good group here. If is there anyone in the audience that mentioned being advanced with this methodology that would like to kind of chime in, maybe on your experience using it, some challenges you faced, or some successes you had with it? And you can just come off mute if you are on the call. Okay, maybe they jumped off. All right, any takeaways, any comments on what you might have heard today that makes you kind of inspired to go back and want to use this tool?
Oh, this is Yvette. I appreciate the presentation. It really is very transparent and accountable. And I think that is what we really need in a government setting or, in an organizational setting. It's amazing. Thank you so much.
Excellent. And you know what? Your comment, Yvette, in a government setting, that's what stood out to me with what you just said, because oftentimes there can be possible trust issues with community and government, right? Are they really hearing our voice? Are they really improving processes to help the service that we get? And absolutely, we need more accountability everywhere in all agencies. And so this is a great way to implement that. And we're hearing lots of comments in the chat. Love your practical approach and tactics. Love the weekly sprints and report card. Love its objectivity. Um, and yeah, you did amazing. Lots of folks finding it helpful. Wonderful. Looking forward to implementing these tools. Absolutely. Yeah. And now, is this the main methodology that you use, Sumeda?
No, Scrum is one of the main methodologies that
One of
I've
the main
used,
ones?
but yeah, DSDM is in the government settings. Whenever
Mhm.
I had like government contracts, we use DSDM, but Scrum was what my skill set
So
stands on.
that makes sense because, when you're working on those heavy hitter projects where you've got some timelines and you can't afford
Yeah.
to miss those and slack on the job. You need that
Yes,
that
yes, we
eye on
need
it
that.
weekly.
Yes, but thank you so
Absolutely.
much for the opportunity, Talia. This was great. And thank you so much for all the questions. And I'm here to help KPIs, quality, program, and project management. But yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. We do have a few minutes left, about 8 minutes. We can take it all the way to 12 if you all want to share anything, any projects you're working on. This is one of my personal favorite communities to be a part of just because if you have any projects you're working on or process improvements or change management going on and maybe you're the one leading it or facilitating and you need some tips, this is a group right here. Lots of practitioners in this room. So if there's anything you're working on and you'd like to share, we'd love to hear about it and possibly chime in if there's any advice or guidance you may need. This is always easier in person. I know that when we used to do this Teresa and I at our old COP, at our old agency, you just look around the room and folks can, chime in. But a little different online, but I hope that someone wants to chime in. I see someone came off mute, but not sure if you want to speak. Is it Musa?
Yeah, it's Musa. So I really want to just thank Samida for the presentation. Um, I know the 80% rule. So me, the first time I was introduced to it was through economics in graduate program. There was this Italian economist who
Mm.
is Velfro Pareto. He came up with the 80%, 80-20 rule.
Mhm.
What he did is that he conducted a study of a farmland where there were farming happening. So he realized that 80% of the product of the best seeds are coming from 20% of the land. So,
Mm.
so this is how this idea, the principle of 80-20 came about. So, and then it's been applied in many concepts and in many other areas. So what I like about it in project, actually, for example, if you have a project team of 100 people, and then here you have only 20 people who are doing 80% of the work, communication is more easier
Mhm.
in that way. And then probably also because those 20% of people can do multiple work within the project, then scheduling and all that becomes easy for them, for you. And also instead of having 80% doing only 20% of the work, and then you see how much scheduling become difficult, and then how much also it's also difficult to have all the people schedule and the communication, the back and forth, and then also risk when it comes to somebody going on vacation or somebody going on matter or something like that. There's so many other stuff going on. So I think I have never been in a project where I'm lucky to have that 20% doing 80% of the work, but that would be the best anybody could have. You where only 20% of your team does 80% of the project. Most likely you'll be successful in that.
Very good call out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Good point.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to share? I love hearing from you all, by the way. Teresa and I love hearing from you. So don't feel like you're taking up time. That's what we are here for. Sumeda.
I had a question for the team. So, have you guys thought how this is lean?
Mm. I have an answer, but I don't want to take up the time. Who else might have an answer to this?
Can you repeat the question, please?
How would DSDM or these styles of project management be lean?
This is Yvette. I think this is similar to the last planner system with the Lean Construction Institute. And I really like it because it focuses the staff on what they should be doing. And at the same time, in that methodology, it actually also shows the effect if a task is not completed. Then you can see the domino effect. So then that strengthens accountability. It's transparent and then it's accountability. So then in that class planner system, people actually are motivated and so motivated to complete their task. And it's kind of like an end-to-end cycle too, when you look at those tasks that has to be accomplished. Thank you.
Great answer. Yeah, Paul said it's real time, it's visual, it's Gemba informed, it's collaborative.
Yes. And the principles are completely lean aligned. So, like the lean and Six Sigma principles were used in agile. In the initial stages, they were used in agile, and then DSDM pretty much took eight of those from for project management. So they're very lean focused.
I was going to say, when you think of the principle, the core principle of lean, where you eliminate waste and improve efficiency and effectiveness, you can really see it as some of my colleagues have said with the transparency and even what you were saying, Sumeda, about sometimes there's the time to just do stuff. I mean, like once you explain it, now you gotta just do it. And I really appreciated that part of it as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie.
And I was going to say, I love for me, it's like a visual map, you know, um, and it's like I can see like it's a freeway entrance, like where I enter and where someone else enters, and so those just visually seeing those intersections and it just being very well mapped out, so it has so that you can cognitively wrap your mind around it, you're more likely to lean in because you see what you're doing, you see how things are impacting. One to the other. And I love the fact that the presenter said that kindness is important, because we can have formulas that are solid, right? But we have human beings that are navigating these formulas, and we have to be respectful for each other's sense of agency and rights and all that good stuff. So together we win, but we have to buy in.
Good point. So there's a little bit of
So thank you so
human-centered
much.
design in there, huh?
The
Yes,
timeline that
absolutely.
sorry to share,
Mhm.
Kiana, the timeline that I'm sharing, sorry, excuse me, actually works with it.
The timeline works with it. Awesome. Okay, well, hey, that took us to 12 o'clock. We thank you all for sticking with us for the entire time. I hope you got a lot out of it. I see you got a lot out of it from your comments in the chat. And thank you again, Sumeda, for this awesome presentation. Um, thank you for joining us. This is our favorite time of the month. So we hope you all have a wonderful Tuesday, and we will see you again next month.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. Have a great day.
Bye.
Thank you. You guys are awesome.
So are you. Best community ever.